Now we
well,
did
let's
it right.
see if Woody went live. No, it doesn't look
PKN
like he did.
290. I might not be able to live stream because of the strike thing I got from. I don't know. Oh, it was we advertised a like sports betting fantasy football thing like 3 years
The rape
ago.
condoms. Yeah, that's what it was.
No, and
That's strange.
apparently that's an advertiser that gets you a strike on your channel, and that's why I have.
I thought condoms that destroyed DNA evidence were an amazing idea. But I
are we
never
going
thought
now?
they'd be misused.
Are we going now?
Yeah, we've been starting.
Oh, okay. I didn't. I talked over it. My bad. Well, hi everyone. I hope everybody's having a good time. All this primary shit's going on, and I gotta tell you, I don't give a shit. This coronavirus thing, we were all wrong. And I think it's about time we come around to admit it. The flu, a little different flu, doesn't cause one of the largest first world economies of all time, or of the current era in Italy, to just shut down everything. Like, Italy is done. And if you look at, I have a chart right here.
I was gonna go to Italy, by the way.
Were they
And
conquered?
now that's ruined.
Were they
Destroyed.
conquered last night or something?
They quarantined their whole country.
You
Was
didn't
it the
know this?
Moors? Was it the Moors again?
No, they're never going to get us again.
I'm working
You're
with a
supposed to say,
paramotor.
no, it was the Moops. The Moops.
The moops. Oh, yeah.
I'm working with a paramotor company to be like a factory pilot, and it starts off with me like going to their factory and like touring the place and stuff. I propose making a video, and I'm guessing that's canceled.
Yeah. Oh, that's definitely canceled. Pretty much every live event, tons of sports games like the NBA and NHL playoffs. I guarantee they're going to have trouble drawing fans, like and filling it. Like it's not going to be good. They're going to shut. They're really shutting shit like this down. Like I've been autistically getting into this, and it is way worse than what H1N1 was as far as projections go. If you look at that thing I just linked, it shows where Italy is. You know, they're that pink, that purple line rather. That's all the way up. Bad enough to quarantine an entire fucking country and say, hey, you need a permit to go outside, or unless you're just like running to the grocery store for, I guess more TP. And you can see every single country other than Japan is in that same exact path, the same one. We're like 9 days behind them, and we're actually a little less than 90 or 9 to 11 days, I would guess. What's it say? 11.5 days. We're less than that because we're retards who haven't shut down our border. We're still taking people back from China. We're still taking people from all over the world. That's horrible. What are we doing?
We stopped doing that, like from China in particular. Am I crazy? I thought Trump shut down the border with China.
He did.
Yeah. Oh, if he shut it down with, well, he's not shutting it down from if you were in China,
the world.
If you were in China and you fly to France, then you're allowed to come back.
They're not sending their well.
So like that's the kind of thing it is.
They're sniffly. They're coffee.
No, I don't think we need to reevaluate anything. It's exactly what we said it was like 2 or 3 weeks ago.
You bet me $10, 10 people wouldn't die. That passed about a week ago in the U.S.
Well, it's been 3 weeks now.
We didn't put a cap on it, did we?
We did. I didn't say ever. I said between now and next show.
If that's true, then I'm a fucking fool.
Let's go by my memory. Actually, let's not do that.
Hold back.
No, if it's on my side, do it.
I don't remember at all.
So no, it's exactly what we thought it was going to be. We talked about that it's much more communicable than these other diseases. But we also talked about the fact that it kills only the old, only the very old and sick. Like those cases in Washington in particular, like everybody's like, it's running through Washington state like a wildfire. No. It ended up in a nursing home that has a medical facility where they're literally nursing the oldest, sickest people in existence. And those people caught it.
I will bet anyone $1 million that both Trump and Biden die and Buttigieg becomes president.
That's the order of succession. That's true.
Then,
well, it was a weird.
Can we get a notary?
I guess South Bend, Indiana is who we picked the third guy from. No, I feel like people think it's got to be like one or the other, where it's like this is a fucking nothing burger, whatever. It's just another flu, or it's a cataclysmic, world-ending plague. It's like no, it's not either of those. Most people who get this, but part of the reason it's so risky and bad is. Like if you wake up tomorrow and you feel like you have a cold, most people are going to go, this isn't that virus everybody's talking about. This is a cold. A bad virus, like bad things happen. I'm like probably shitting blood or something is what people have in their head, bubonic style. But really, a cold, is what you're going to feel when you first get this. And so you go out there and you're sneezing all over the place. This disease can live for 9 days on a flat surface. That's an enormous amount of time for a disease. And the thing isn't, oh, it's only killing the old. It's only killing the old. Well, eventually the young will struggle a little bit too when they're if they have to go to the hospital because all the beds are going to be taken up.
The death rate for people in their 70s was something like 15%.
Way more than usual in hospitals.
All of the beds.
So the death rate for people over 70 is like 15%, right? And that's causing people to say only old people are dying. But the death rate for healthy people is still high. It's like 1%. Like that's not what the flu death rate is. It's no one dies. Yeah.
To Woody's point, Woody's like you're saying exactly the truth. People are like, death rate's 1%. It's like, yeah, bitch, you know what the flu's death rate is? 0.001. Like this is way bigger than that. Like it, and especially if you isolate out old people, like, and maybe I'm just looking at a bunch of nonsense and forming my own conclusions. I am want to do, but this doesn't seem like it's nearly as much a nothing as people say, and it's kind of exposing how ridiculous our health situation is here, where it's like, oh, the richest country on earth can't afford testing kits and huge numbers of their hospitals months after the discovery of this. Oh, there was no quick response to do what like Russia or Israel or now Italy did, where like immediately as soon as something like this comes up, it's like, boom, shut down the fucking borders. Let's not risk anything about this, dude. Like, and Italy is doing something really tight where because they're going to lose economic, they're going to lose shit economically from doing this. They're getting rid of all mortgage payments. For the duration of this, you don't have to pay your mortgage and it's covered. Which is something that would never happen in the US. And it's like, oh, so that's like a country that looks out for its people, and we kind of just live in an economy.
I didn't know that, and that's amazing to me. That is a step that, like you said, as an American, that blows my mind. Like, what? You don't have to pay the mortgage?
Wait, a country does something for their citizens, even if it's not immediately beneficial fiscally? What?
Right. No, we live in a country where if it's for the rich, it's permanent and it's law. If it's for regular people, it's temporary and it's some presidential
and it's
thing.
Ass.
Yeah, and it's ass. Yeah, like the last tax cut. The businesses got the permanent long-term thing. The regular people, they got a temporary tax break that needs to be either happen again or just let it expire. Yeah. Who knows?
And it wasn't even all the businesses. It helps the huge businesses way more than the little, kitchen table people.
For sure. Yeah. It does. I don't know if I hear the coronavirus test is $3,000. Is it really? I can hardly believe that. I believe someone paid $3,000. I don't know that everyone's paying $3,000, right? You know how healthcare works. It can be crazy, but in other countries it's free. The idea here is like it is expensive enough that a lot of people will not get tested. That's the way that our healthcare works. It's expensive enough that a lot of people will not get this nipped in the bud, and it will become a bigger problem. The idea that, like, I guess as an American, it's like, well, yeah, of course, you're on your own. That's how we do things. Unless you're a big company or something, then of course we subsidize you. But if you're a regular
billionaire or a banker,
or you're in the oil industry or something like that, of course you deserve billions of dollars in government help. But if you're a regular person, you are on your own all the time. Fuck you, right? That's the way that our system works.
Pretty much.
And I'm watching other countries like whip up hospitals and quarantine centers and do the testing for free and try to help their citizens. I'm not accustomed to the government actually doing anything for me.
That must be nice. To live in a country where like
you've never had a government agency come and just clean up all the junk in your house before? Just scoop it all up, label it, take it away.
I haven't.
Organize all your electronics and memory cards.
Might be talking about ATF raids.
Oh, yeah. The ATF wasn't saving you from any diseases.
They'll do. Who knows what they saved me from? Like they got in
2
there.
months
They
of
took care of
freedom.
business. Oh,
in 2 years,
I'd have probably been hit by a car if I'd been out, on the loose somewhere running around. They put me in a safe place. Okay.
I don't see what that has to do with the government providing for people who are suffering from a disease.
I also don't think that it's fair to be like, the economy did this. We were wrong about the disease. I think the disease is still doing the exact same thing that I thought it would do, and what it seemed the people on CNN and the experts were saying it was going to do weeks ago. What's unexpected is what's happening with the economy, and that has much less to do with the disease and much more to do with how people are reacting to the disease.
I have a perfect reaction. I have a Escape from Tarkov based quarantine plan
Mm-hmm.
in which I
Yeah.
don't interact with other people except for online to shoot them in a video game.
Yeah, come at me, bro. You know how much meat I got frozen in there?
Oh, I got
and
all
look,
sorts of cans and meats and toilet papers. I'm ready.
Silly
I do.
Taylor
I
is
honestly
going
do.
to work. That's not a good
See-
plan, Taylor.
I'm going to meetings, like, talking to fucking sick people, and then of course, like there is
Sorry, Kyle,
some
okay.
sort of boomer mentality. Or I'm sorry, Kyle.
You know,
I stomped
I'm a
right over
little
you. Go for it.
offended by this, but carry on.
Yeah,
I'm not even a boomer. But anyway,
No.
boomer mentality.
Kyle, you were in
Oh.
the middle of your
I was saying like and like I don't so I got a bunch of stuff to make sure that I didn't have to go outside. And the whole
Mhm.
idea is it's I'm much less afraid of catching that virus than I am about like dealing with crazy people that might potentially be at the grocery store. It's the stupidity of people that is the real scary thing. It's just like in The Walking Dead, right? The zombie virus was the least of their worries. It was
Yeah,
it
yeah.
was the crazy people out there.
the no
trying to-
goodniks and the
the
rioters.
no goodniks and the certain demographics in particular,
Koreans.
the whites, yes,
Yes.
they can get rowdy. And so I don't know, I still maintain the disease itself is like a level 2 threat level. My mom just got out of the hospital from the flu.
Well, thank God, Kyle. You live in
flu.
Atlanta. Very few white people.
Oh yeah, like very peaceable here. Like I can count on my my black brothers and sisters to maintain the peace out here and to make sure that nobody overreacts.
Are you
know?
quitting ordering your Postmates now? Like, are you taking a
I've
hiatus?
been,
from it
I've
or
been
no?
cooking. I only cook. Yeah, I've got so much food like stockpiled up that I've been just cooking.
I used it as an excuse where I was like, I feel like, just it'd be smart to have a bunch of canned food just in case.
Mhm.
Like, even though it's not going to turn into fucking apocalypse or anything.
I did
So
the
bought
exact
a
same
bunch.
thing.
Yeah.
I think the idea that I'm actually going to need all that food that I've got is absolutely ridiculous. But then when I started looking at at first I was looking at those food buckets, and then I was like, oh, this is incredibly non-economical. Like it's like $15 a meal, $20 a meal. And then I looked at
When were
just
you
rice,
looking at these?
just for a bucket of food or
No, when?
recently.
Oh, shit. I got mine before this Corona shit. Way cheaper than that. So
Well,
they
I
must
guess it
be
depends
price
on what you.
gouging.
Yeah, it depends on what you get. Like I know that, like I looked at MREs in particular because I think those are cool, and I enjoy the MRE review channel. Love
They
to
are
have them as
cool.
a guest.
May as well have fun.
But I also looked at those buckets of food that are like freeze dried scrambled eggs and other nonsense, and it just
Well,
sounds so gross.
I can't be the only one listening who's never heard of a bucket of food. Can you describe it more?
Oh yeah. So they do these like survival buckets, and it's like a 5-gallon container, and it's full of meals, like usually freeze dried in packets and stuff, or sometimes just loose. Like I'm sure Taylor's got some of them. Taylor's got a couple.
Yeah,
of
I've
big
got a
buckets.
couple downstairs. They must be real fucking expensive now because they weren't that bad when I got them.
It's one of those
And
things
the
that Alex
benefit
Jones
to
hawks.
them, like if you buy those and that's your fucking plan for everything, you're probably a fucking retard. But
Mhm.
like, because cans, like you said an episode or so ago, lasts a long time. These last way longer than cans. Like eventually a can's gonna go rancid, and if it heats up enough, shit's gonna happen. Like
So the thing about
it'll just
canned
go bad.
food-
This lasts for like 35 years.
Yeah.
It's stuff like this. And look at this. One of these right now is like going for a bunch of buying options, obviously, and like $200.
By the way, if you're out there,
$190.
and I'm not saying this is necessary, I really got into it because it's kind of fun. It's kind of fun. The same reason people plan for the zombie apocalypse. It's kind of fun to like. It's just like when you're playing an RPG and you're like, oh yeah, I want my character to be good at blacksmithing, and I want to like get enough beans and rice to, and then imagine the silly scenario, and that's kind of fun for me.
It is fun. I got a ton of rice. I got a lot
If
of
you're
beans.
worried about, if you're out there listening to this and you're actually worried about doing these things, I got white rice, I got black beans, pinto beans, and like kidney beans and stuff like that. Stuff lasts forever, and a tiny bit will make a meal really quickly. It's really quick to make them if you've got a pressure cooker, like an instant pot. And don't stock up on toilet paper. Get a bidet. Just get a bidet. You've got infinite toilet paper then, or or just go natural. Just free poop. That's the new way. There is nothing that will keep
Free
strangers, coffee, sneezy strangers away from you like the smell that you're going to be giving off after 2-3 months of free shitting.
It kept Ted Nugent out of the Vietnam War.
They absolutely
work?
saved the man's life.
I just came across, I think, another conspiracy here. If you look at this link that I just linked you of, this isn't the food supply one I bought, but it was the first one that came up. You're supposed to add boiled water to it. Look at the pictures underneath the bin at what the meals are supposed to look like.
Mhm.
If you are running a post-apocalyptic food provisions company, you can make these plates look like whatever you want. You think there's going to be a some sort of refund once shit really goes down because your couscous doesn't look right, bitch? No, man, I bet everything in that whole jug is vile. Absolutely vile.
Yeah, don't buy these things. Canned food lasts so long. Like I gotta. All right, so in my opinion,
How
canned
long
food
does
is
it last?
15 years easily. But I see
This is
on
like
that-
30 years.
I hear you. But I think that certain canned foods would last that long too, because I've seen people on the internet open up 80, 90-year-old cans of food and eat them. I got to do a little.
Says you can likely safely double the shelf life from 3 up to 6 years for most canned foods.
You
Yeah, I don't
poor
believe that.
souls. As a 47-year-old, I don't need to plan for 30 years from now.
Actually,
It's not
you know,
happening.
if you in the apocalypse, if you have very strict temperature, a strict temperature regulation room, which you probably won't have, then you can make anything last for a long time.
It says, according to research, if you store canned food at a temperature around or below 75 degrees, aka your house, it's possible that the food will remain unspoiled for possibly more than 100 years or even indefinitely. So, like, I bet it would start tasting weird after 10 years, frankly, but you'd still have some food.
But it'd be
but in any-
nutritional and safe-ish.
Sure. But yeah, I just got a bunch of cans of corn and shit.
If
Again,
shit goes
this is
awry,
threat level 2.
you're not going to be able to keep stuff under that. But regardless, you're right. Cans are the number one defense. You want to do that,
Yeah. I mean,
or
if there
buy
was
chickens.
Well,
Wings
like-
is set.
we sold those long ago. My
Oh.
father, on the other hand, has 120,000 chickens over there and like 85 head of cattle. So like, I'm heading over there.
Is he going to goose his numbers a bit just to be safe?
What do you mean goose's numbers?
Like get his numbers up. 120,000. What about what are your grandchildren going to eat?
I think if things went poorly, then you would want to conserve the feed that was on site and like maybe have 500 chickens and let the rest just die. Like you wouldn't want to be, or let them free range. They would still die. Foxes and stuff would just eat them up. But
Dude, the foxes would be having the best apocalypse of all time if
yeah,
119,500 chickens are released into the wild.
yeah, because
that
like
causes
the
a lot of
modern
problems.
chickens that we eat are nothing like the chickens in the wild before we started tampering with them and like breeding them to be these giant breasted white birds that are completely defenseless. They could fly. They'd fly up into trees and roost at night. Like they wouldn't fly south for the winter or anything. Don't think that kind of flight, but they would fly well enough to like go up into a tree and like get in it and chill out there and hide from predators when they.
What
when they
level of
slept at night.
flying do they have now? Like,
Zero.
okay.
Absolutely zero.
I knew you'd say that, but I want to dive into
Maybe
it
like
deeper.
a good jump.
What if I threw one off the top of a building?
It would die.
It wouldn't fall like a cat. It would have some level of.
It would fall worse than a cat.
It falls worse than a cat.
Oh no, it's not what I
Because
expected.
it doesn't have its natural balance anymore. Like the breasts that are in those things, it teeters them off. That's why you see those big chicken coops
I'm
where they're
telling you,
coming through,
like-
like poking the dead ones and throwing them in a bucket.
Can I jump in? I thought it was
Yeah.
going to be just shy of a flying squirrel. Like flying squirrels don't gain altitude,
I put
but-
all my money on the squirrel.
but they fall with style.
These do not fall with style.
Okay.
I promise you. Like, because sometimes I've seen them tossed
Mhm.
around, and they're just like, you might as well be tossing like a dog or something.
chihuahua,
as far as
yeah.
as far as
Yeah.
aerodynamic and flight capabilities go.
Tape a
like-
chicken breast to the front of a cantaloupe and drop it. And see how well it
It
does.
just sort of
It'll do good.
va-voom, va-voom, va-voom as it flies through the air. Yeah, their like wingspan to weight ratio is fucked. Like that
Mhm.
that old timey chicken I described that people used to keep in their yards and then they'd roost in the trees. Those probably weighed like 2 pounds and then had really big wings. And these weigh 7 to 11 pounds and have pussy wings.
I have a question
Yeah.
about the chicken business since we're on that topic. Now, your father doesn't create more chickens. He turns chicks into chickens, right?
Correct. Yeah.
How many stages of this are there? Are there other people that just make eggs all the time and then
Yeah.
other people that make chicks all the time? There's 3 kinds. What
So-
can you tell us?
So the chicks happen at a factory. That's you think of the farmers. They're independent contractors as far as the way everything goes down. The poultry company, they provide the chicks and they provide the food and they provide medicine if it's required. And that's it. The farmer's responsible for everything that it takes to get the chick to whatever size that they want. Different companies like want different size chickens, so different ages. Some go for 5 weeks, some up to 11 weeks,
Mhm.
depending on how big of a chicken you want. And yeah, there are so their broilers are what my dad does, and those are for meat consumption. They start as this little yellow peep, and they turn into like a
Big
7 or
white.
8 pound bird in like 6.5 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And but there's also farmers that I think they're called pullets, and I think what they're doing
Yeah.
there is they're raising the hens that are going to eventually lay eggs. And then there are the egg. I could be wrong about that because that's something that I have no experience with. But then there are definitely egg laying houses where they've just got tons of hens who are laying eggs all day, and the farmers go in and collect the eggs, and those go to the egg market of the world. You know, if you're eating an egg, it came out of one of those chickens.
I almost feel like I got 4 because there's one. We didn't talk about who turns eggs into chicks.
Yeah, I think that's just the company itself because they have a hatchery.
Uh-huh.
And at the hatchery, they I honestly don't know where they get their eggs. I don't know the answer to that question, but I know that they hatch them out in a very mechanized fashion on conveyor belts, and they bring them, you know, tens of thousands at a time, and they're just continuously hatching out every day.
I don't know where they come from either because they certainly don't come from chickens fucking. It's just a mystery. They just appear out of nowhere.
Yeah, but chickens suck at actually surviving in the wild. Like they really.
Henrietta did okay until she met me. My KD ratio on that trip is infinite.
I mean,
That's
she
true.
almost won, Frank.
Yeah, she did. Almost doesn't count. So
like,
on the,
go ahead.
I was going to circle back to the Corona thing.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, it's hard to tell. Some of the news agencies I watch, like take the CNN and MSNBCs of the world, almost, I don't want to overstate it and say they're rooting for death or whatever, but they do seem to gleefully report how our government isn't as useful as other governments, kind of like we did at the start of the show. And when I hear that, I'm like, it's almost like you want the administration to fail on this issue so that you have something to fuss about, which makes me struggle to figure out how big a deal the virus is at all.
Yeah. Well, it's like that shit with like, well, there are a lot of those awful people out there now, like people like Bill Maher who are like, oh yeah, I want a huge recession. It's like, oh, that must be like really fun for you to have so much money that you can wish for a horrible thing to happen to hundreds of millions of people in this country. Wow, you're an irredeemable piece of shit. But like the whole, like the thing that's going to make it, I think, possibly worse here as far as the spread than countries like Italy or Russia, Israel, wherever, is like, we don't really have a robust safety net to take care of people at all. If there's a bus driver in Israel who's like, I'm not feeling good, I gotta stay home. There's a safety net for him to fall back on. Same with, a country like Italy, to a lesser extent, Italy, I would say. Here, people are going to be going to work when they're clearly sick because there's no other option.
It's almost
like
heroic, right? Like
it's sad. Yeah.
There's a mixture. If people don't know American culture, I would say maybe half of us feel like, dude, don't go to work when you're sick. Don't power through this. That's stupid and it's bad.
I'm on that team.
Okay. And then there's another half who are like, man, Taylor hasn't called in sick in 6 years. He's the most reliable employee this place has.
See, like, and that's definitely a mentality, like in any sort of business. You're right. And maybe that's more, I guess that is more American culture than other places, but nothing, and even not in the seasons like this where we have a big thing to be concerned with, is when I see someone in like a meeting or something and they're sniffling and they're blowing their nose every 20 minutes and they just they're talking like this instead. Well, if you consider this we could talk to the distribution center and see if that kind of stuff. Like my response has never been, wow, that guy works hard. It's always, dude, you're a fucking prick, dude. You should have known better than to come into a room with well people and spread your shit. You couldn't have Skyped in. You couldn't have called in and not risked sneezing all over us. You're a bitch. You're an asshole. Fuck you. Like, I don't like when people hang around me and they're sick. It's rude. It's just rude. Maybe I'm probably different than some people.
No, but you're right. I agree with you. It's like, you belong on the phone, you sick sniffling. And then on the other hand, like when I'm that guy on the phone, like maybe I'm coughing or whatever, no one's getting sick from me. No, but like I
Mhm.
feel like good about that. And on a related note, like if I hear someone smoking or whatever on the microphone, I'm like, that's not really my problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Must be a loud smoker.
You're like right in the middle of the meeting here. Blah, 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 blah,
Yeah,
blah, blah.
yeah, smoking.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You hear the telltale click, click. They got that. Some of the guys we play Tarkov with, they do dabs, and you'll like between games, you'll hear the electronic igniter of a propane torch. Click, click. They're heating that nail up, and I'm just sitting over there like, guess I'll enjoy my Diet Coke.
Yeah, that's just sad.
Get kind of a caffeine buzz.
On-
Yeah.
The Tarkov thing, of course, this is a bigger deal than the coronavirus. Hackers are going wild. You've seen now they strip you without even like fighting you. They just take things off your inventory.
That seems fucked.
Yeah. People for Tarkov, a lot of it for people who don't play is about like gaining loot and increasing your character's wealth. It almost becomes the scorecard after a while, as much as killing people. And so for that reason, these hackers will go in game, take Kyle when he plays, he's juicy, which means he's loaded with lots of really good gear. They don't have to beat him in game. They don't even have to see him in game. He undresses unbeknownst to him. And there's some dispute.
Like one of those Japanese pornos.
Exactly like that.
All of our Tarkov friends won't play today. I hopped into the stream. They're like, we're not doing it. We won't play. I've been doing just scav runs. With a scav run, you don't use your main character. It's sort of a temporary thing. You either win or you tie. That's all you can do. So if they take all the things off this new character that just spawned in, who cares? There's a rumor they can take your Red Rebel and your Gamma, but no video.
Woo!
Yeah, and your Gamma is a big deal.
I don't like that a bit. I maybe I'll play a little Call of Duty tonight then. Yeah, the BR released.
It did. Larry says it stinks. I want to hear what Stubb says. You know Stubb.
Yeah.
He was a mod on the Call of Duty forum, and he's very good at that game. I'd like to hear his opinion.
I'll say this: the trailer for it really looked cool.
You know
it
what's
really looked cool?
It got me excited. A very, very cool mechanic. You know, in game, you go down, but you're not dead. I could resuscitate you.
Mm-hmm.
In this, that's not how it works. You go down, you transport to a fantasy world where you 1v1 for resuscitation. And whoever wins the 1v1 comes back to life.
Wow, that's interesting.
I
don't like that, actually.
Well, I mean, as a guy that gets carried, it's not in my best interest, but I think it's really neat. I would love to be like, I'm back, boys. Toasted that noob. That would be fun.
I don't like that a bit. I really like
Why?
the mechanic because, like, it's almost like real life in that you can shoot a guy who's out in the open and now he's crawling. And so maybe you shoot him one more time so his HP bar is down to like 1/3 and he's calling out to his friends, Billy! And they're like, I'm gonna go get him. And then they run out and you'll take him down. And now they're like, oh God, what are we gonna throw some smoke? Maybe that'll help. Like you can bait people with their
I
teammates.
think
like
this happened in Saving Private Ryan. Yeah.
Yeah,
Like with Vin Diesel, yeah.
yeah. Like, give this to my dad. It's got blood on it. And I'm just over there in the woods like, yeah, it does.
It's about to have more, and then I'm gonna steal that and give it to my dad. How you like
Yeah,
that?
I'm going to give my dad your note. And he can't read it because that's in German. Give me that.
Yeah.
Dad came over and watched the fights with me. We had a real good
yeah.
time. He was blown away by the women's fight. Valentina Shevchenko, she turned into a Klingon somewhere around round 3. It was badass. Her head swelled up like a Klingon, the ridges they have.
Except
the
it was
foreheads.
Joanne Jurjacek,
What did I say?
Valentina Shevchenko.
Oh, of course. Yeah. I was thinking about her because I just watched her interview where she was talking about the fight, I guess. Yeah, Joanna. Her head. Oh my God. And then she had the broken nose too. So we had a good time watching those fights.
She's
That was,
very tough. I liked her before. I don't really like her personality, but
I don't either. I hate it.
I really like watching her fight though.
Same.
And now I love watching her fight. She's
Hate her personality, love to watch her fight.
yeah.
And then there's other people who are like, love their personality. I don't need to see you going in there. Like maybe you get like an announcing gig or something, dude. Like I don't need to see you.
Who are we thinking of? Is
Honestly,
Adesanya maybe?
it's Daniel Cormier. Like I feel like he's great on the mic, but I don't need to see him in there. I feel like it's over for him.
He has a lot of charisma.
He goes back in there, he's gonna get hurt. Stipe, unless he can eye poke Stipe into oblivion next time, Stipe's just gonna flatten him, and he don't want no part of John Jones. He needs to get on out. There's no super heavyweight class, and he certainly ain't gonna cut down below 205. So just retire. Just retire. You did it all.
Yeah, it's been a good career. I like him. I don't want to see him get hurt. I do think he loses his next fight. The way he moves, like, there's a certain kind of fluidity in a good fighter's movement. Tony, I can't do his last name right now. Who's
Ferguson?
Ferguson, thank you. Tony Ferguson moves really well, and you can see it. Conor McGregor is another one. Just the way they slink around is athletic. Daniel Cormier, have you ever seen that guy throw a high kick? He looks like a fat child pretending to be Elvis or something. It's
Yeah, his center of gravity's all wrong for high kicks. It doesn't. You need your weight down on your hips, and his is like up here around his thorax somewhere.
He's inflexible and just not athletic anymore. And like, I get it. You're strong. You were an Olympic athlete. You've had a great career. You can have a great second act too on the mic.
You know who
look
was
forward to
incredibly
it.
impressive
What?
and reminded me of Conor McGregor? Sean O'Malley. Did you watch that fight?
I like that guy. Yeah.
He looked like, if you've ever seen a mongoose and a cobra fight, and how the mongoose is like in and out, in and out, in and out, fucking with the cobra, and the cobra's just like, God damn it, what is this thing? That was Sean O'Malley. He was on his toes doing that. Looked like Conor, like the way he's in and out, in and out, in and out, and just KO'd him. And like, it was the first round. I know. I'm trying to think if 3 minutes even went by, and then he was just like, he literally walked away, not with his mouth closed, like not breathing, like
He's an interesting guy. So he got busted for steroids twice in a row, right? One, he does not fail the eye test, right? He passes the eye test. He doesn't have the kind of build that steroids users have. They get these big traps and shoulders and stuff, and he doesn't look like that at all. Second, he didn't deny it or anything. He's just like, I don't know how that got in my system, you know. I think his laugh was really short, implying that it was an accident. But yeah, he had this big gap between his last fight and this one.
16 months, I think.
Was it?
Yeah.
I think he got caught. But yeah, anyway, about a year and a half. And then he comes back and destroys the other guy. He got better.
Yeah. Yeah. Great night of fights. I felt like I got my money's worth. I personally thought that Joanna won her fight, and I thought that Izzy should have lost his fight just for not putting on enough of a show. I feel like the onus is on the champion to put on a show. Like Yoel's a 43-year-old man stepping up to go fight this killer, and meanwhile, like the guy who's like walking out, doing with women throwing flowers in the air and like cocking his hand like it's a fucking firearm and doing all sorts of, like, okay, you put on a show out there, but it seems like you're not willing to entertain us when it actually matters. Like I didn't pay for the dance number. I didn't pay for any sort of performance art. I paid to see you go out there and battle another man. And I mean, the blame's on both of them. Don't get me wrong. It's on both of them. But Izzy ran more than Yoel did for sure.
He did.
Yoel didn't engage a lot, but when he did, Izzy ran.
So they're both counter-strikers, right? And each one wants the other one to initiate it and expose something that they can counter-strike on. And neither of them were really doing that. Izzy threw tons of leg kicks, did a lot of good damage there, mostly because it didn't expose him to the kind of things that Yoel wanted to happen.
He's longer, much longer.
And it's always hard to like figure out. Dana White blamed Yoel. Dana White was like, that guy sucked. He came in here, acted like he wanted to fight, and then he didn't want to fight. I kind of blame them both like you do. And they're not boring fighters. The fight, they got fight of the night, each one of them, their previous fight. So you take this performance of the night guy, you put them against each other, and you get one of the worst title fights in history.
One of the absolute worst, like top 3 worst. I remember Anderson Silva had one that was so atrocious that Dana wouldn't put the belt on him. Might have been with Diaz. I don't remember who it was. There was one where Diaz actually laid down on the floor and like embarrassed him. But
Damian
Anderson's
Maia,
had a couple.
I think it was Damian Maia.
That sounds familiar. I know Anderson's had a few stinkers. I'm not a big fan of Anderson. I never have been. But in any case, yeah, good night of fights on the whole. It was just that one at the end, like it was bad. It was real bad.
I was kind of on the edge of my seat. We'll get off UFC after this. But Yoel is and Izzy, for that matter, are both so dangerous, so one-punch knockout, crush you, amazing strikers. The whole time I watched it, it was like any moment now, someone could fire their gun.
Yeah.
And then 25 fighting minutes later, no one fired a round. And you're like, oh, I kind of enjoyed the fight, but it has no rewatchability.
Yeah, I didn't get it.
Yeah.
I guess Yoel thought he was ahead in the scorecard because if I'm Yoel and I'm in that 5th round, it's like, all right, I got enough gas for at least 2 minutes of nothing but explosion. Let's wait for the clock to get to 2 minutes and 30 left, and let's just go for it.
The
But
most aggression they showed was after the fight ended.
after the fight, he's flipping him off and beating his chest and yelling. It's like, what, I wish Dana had stepped in and said, wait a minute. One more round. Let's go. You both talking a big game. One more round. Reel it back. No, I don't care about the commission. I don't care. Yeah, give me the scores. I'll call it, but these two are going to fight another round. Yeah, I'll pay them again. Let's go.
That would be amazing. Imagine that. Like, you want to fight. You're both still here. You're all dressed up. You're trained. If you think you've got, do it. Do it this
How about
time.
$50,000? Whoever wins this round, bonus for a KO. Let's go.
That would be so cool.
Yeah, that would be. Could I get everyone out of the ring real quick? Yeah, Bruce, go take a seat. And he just pulled that. Oh, that would be the greatest UFC moment ever. Because they'd still stand there like, I didn't think he's going to do this. I didn't know this was a possibility.
Yoel, as a counter striker, does this thing kind of like Anderson Silva used to clown, right? He'd put his hands behind his back. He'd dart his head around. Meanwhile, he's standing 6 feet from his opponent. No one has 6 foot long arms that can punch him, but he's acting like, like he was doing something. It kind of masked how inactive he was. Yoel Romero does this stupid fucking thing where he puts his hands around and acts like he's fighting invisible bees. And he's acting like he wants to fight, but he's not fighting. He's just dancing or something. And that irritated me a lot. At least Izzy was looking for opportunities the whole time. He didn't put on any invisible bee swatting fights like Yoel did. It struck me the wrong way.
Hated it. It was real bad. If the women's fight hadn't been so good, this would have been one of those few pay-per-views where I was like, I feel cheated. I feel like my money was taken and I got nothing in return.
Yep.
Because it's $65, even though I'm paying for ESPN Plus. This shit is only getting more expensive.
You want to switch on to Biden potentially threatening to slap some dude?
Biden is just such a piece of shit.
Which one of these videos has the slap part? Because
I'm guessing the bottom one.
You think?
I mean, they're both going to be pretty good. So let's try the bottom one.
They're the same
one
incident.
by the Joey Saladino link.
Okay.
The Twitter one, is that the one you're talking about?
Yeah, good old Joey Saladino.
All right,
All right, I am
Joey
ready.
S, as they know him back in the day.
All right, ready, set, play.
Union vote when there is a large portion of the union workers that are gun enthusiasts, and you are actively trying to diminish our Second Amendment right and take away our guns.
You're full of shit.
All right, thank you.
No, shush. Shush. I support the Second Amendment. The Second Amendment, just like right now, if you yell fire, that's not free speech. And from the very beginning, I have a shotgun, I have a 20 gauge, a 12 gauge, my sons hunt. Guess what? You're not allowed to own any weapon. I'm not taking your gun away at all. You need 100 rounds.
So when you were in Beto, when you said you're going to take our guns,
I did not say that. That's not true. I did not say that.
It's a viral video.
It's a viral video like the other ones they're putting out that are simply a lie.
Your voice. You were said that you're taking the guns.
Well,
away.
he just clarified it. Wait. Take your AR-14s.
Okay, this is not okay. Hold on. All right.
Hey, let's don't tell me to go outside.
There's a lot of guys. How you intend on getting the union vote when there's
Oh, okay, that's the end.
I'm just gonna take your AR-14s away.
Kyle, help me out. I know the AR-14's imaginary, right?
That's something I just dreamt up right now, Mr. Waddy.
Yeah, I mean, he's got old man eyes. He's losing his goddamn mind.
Smithers, tell this son of a bitch what I really said.
So, I do want to see the viral video that he referred to. Like, I want to know how close he has it. He does.
it doesn't really bode well for him if he was saying, I'm not going to take your guns away. I'm not going to, but you don't need 100 rounds in your AR-14. You see that argument a lot from like where it's intentionally made ridiculous, where it's like, well, you don't need 1,000 rounds in your M16. And it's like, okay, how about 20 rounds in an AR-15?
That seems
well, no,
steep.
also not that either is what you don't. But like they intentionally will set an anchor point high to make any sort of pushback against it seem ridiculous. When in reality, what they want to get rid of is a much lesser thing.
That's funny. So first of all, 100 rounds is not weird to me at all. Like 100 round in the gun. I do need 100 rounds. Try play. Look, I don't shoot people. I shoot paper. Every so often on a good day, I shoot something more interesting than that. I don't shoot that often, but if you told me my paintball gun couldn't have 100 rounds in it, I'd be like, the fuck? 100 rounds is just a couple seconds for me.
Yeah, the hopper holds 200. What am I going to do?
Yeah, you're going to put me in 10-round hoppers? And
I had some 150 round AR magazines myself. And
see, that was because you're an American.
That's
True
right.
American.
Yes. And if you really want to have fun, you get one of those belt-fed things for your AR-15 that allows you to have just a belt of bullets, and that's basically infinite if you can keep feeding them with your hand.
This isn't nearly as much of a ridiculous clip as like if it were a top 10 of ridiculous Biden clips, this would be like 15.
I like when he curses, though. I love CNN's like, what a passionate guy. Okay, CNN. If Donald Trump did the same thing.
Donald Trump threatens blue-collar worker is what it would be.
I heard him say something about going outside. I didn't hear him say he was going to slap him. And
I didn't hear it either.
And I don't know where Biden, like, okay, would he challenge the fat guy to a push-up contest? You probably can't do a push-up. I could 1% get on board. He's challenging this union factory worker to a fight outside. Biden, who do you think you are?
That guy's going to eat your lunch outside if you try and do something.
Yeah.
I wish he said, let's go. Let's go.
I saw a longer version where Biden was pointing his finger in his face. And he goes, wait. No, this is not okay. Something close to that. He was very reasonable, and he was the calm one. And Biden, that's when I maybe asked him to go outside. But Biden doing the finger pointing in the face thing, that doesn't make me like you.
Yeah, bad optics on that. But yeah, he's going to win. He's going to win the nomination. So that's
who's going to win the presidency.
If they put Biden against Trump, I think Trump's probably going to win, but who fucking knows? Like a lot of Bernie and Warren people, I imagine, are going to be like, "Fuck this."
A lot of Bernie people are saying they're not only not gonna vote, they're saying they're Trump voters now.
Is that real, or is that like a couple people?
We have a good friend of the show who said it publicly. A man who is steeped in political knowledge, an esteemed colleague who is more plugged in than anyone I know.
Okay,
and
then.
that person is
Wings of Redemption.
Oh, he's switched all the way to Trump. Okay,
that's what I was told. Yeah, I really don't follow, but somebody was like, "Hey, Wings of Redemption's a Trump voter now." I was like, "All right."
Could it seal it couldn't seal the deal for Biden tonight, right? There's not enough delegates on the line, or could it be enough to be like, all right, this is an insurmountable difference, basically?
How many? I don't know actually.
Let's see.
Taylor, do you have any Tarkov-based questions? That's where I've been putting my energies.
You want to talk about armor and ammunition? Maybe? The Zook 6. All right, this thing is 475,000 rubles in the market right now. But goddamn, can it take a beating? No scav can take you out. You're wearing a Vulcan and a Zook 6.
The choke points on these maps are very dangerous for scavs. We need more routes.
Well, even another more important thing than the coronavirus or this political hullabaloo is: did you guys watch The Last of the Outsider?
No,
the last episode yet? Okay, then we won't spoil anything. But just Kyle, give me your very top level unspoiler takes on it.
I feel like I could have wrote a better ending. I paused. I was having an issue with my internet buffering, and so there was a moment when there was about 20 minutes left, and I could see the direction we were headed, where we paused and let it like buffer up or whatever. Only HBO gives me that issue, and I've got like 500 meg down. Anyway, I was like, this is what's going to happen. I laid it out. Then we watched it, and I was like, my ending was better, right? Come on. The ending wasn't so bad that I won't rewatch this and I won't recommend it to people. However, the ending was such that I felt let down and there was a particular part where a character starts asking some questions, and another character says, "Stop asking questions." And I was like, "I've been watching for 8 hours. I would like some questions asked and answered."
I would like
since
some
we're-
more questions, if anything.
like you shut the fuck up. You've been quiet for 8 hours.
Yeah. I don't give
Let
a
the
shit what you have to
questions-
say.
Now it'd be like if we're interviewing fucking Lincoln and someone's like, hey, no questions for the president. All right, he's here.
Yeah.
I don't know how this time machine worked, but let's ask some questions. Like, I didn't like it. I didn't like the ending. It wasn't shit. It wasn't a Game of Thrones style, like what have you done sort of thing. But it was also like, come on.
It was. I agree with you. It was.
And I
it
blame
wasn't
Stephen
as
King.
good as I would hope.
It's probably Stephen King's fault because that's probably how it was written.
Yeah.
If you get to the end of a lot of his novels, they can kind of be downers or
They kinda peter out.
ambiguous. They peter out at the end, and I think it's because he writes on cocaine so much that like by the time he gets to the end,
He's
like
bored.
it's if you think about the way writing on cocaine would work, he gets to the part where he has stopped writing. Clearly, he's not high on cocaine, or he wouldn't have stopped writing. He's at the end. The cocaine has stopped working, and he's in low energy mode. He's like, I don't know, maybe they just write a note that says we're going to drive for a while and we don't know what's going to happen, and then they just drive off into the mist. Yeah, that's how I'll end the mist. That's how he ended the mist in the book. Or like 11/22/63. It's like, he doesn't get the girl. Let's just have him. Let's have him just go back home. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I want to go home.
Yeah.
11/22/63. So I guess I'll spoil it. So heads up. He goes back in time. He stops Kennedy from being murdered, assassinated. And then the ramifications from that, the big problem isn't like, how the Vietnam War changed or anything really clever. The big problem are like tremors and earthquakes and tectonic plates moving and shit that wouldn't actually happen. It was like the whole time you've spent, I think the audiobook is like 37 hours. It's long. So I've listened to like 35 and a half hours of build up to the ending. And it's just like, yeah, the earthquakes are really the big problem.
It was a couple things though. I read the text. And again, I think I don't see any difference between reading a book, reading text, and listening. If I've done both, and I felt like I absorbed equally in both ways. Although when you're reading the book, and something's getting real good, you can kind of slow down a little, and sometimes that's like savoring the moment.
I think reading the book improves your spelling and your own writing. But carry on.
That's true. Yeah.
Maybe listening improves your speaking.
Who knows? Anyway.
But in any case, it did affect the Vietnam War, and there were some there was another war that popped off. I don't remember exactly the ramifications, but you're right. The big problem was that altering time in that way, ruptured the universe in some way. It tore the fabric of reality in some way, that it caused all those earthquakes and things to happen, So yeah, I don't think I've ever really dug the ending of a Stephen King property. If you go back to it, at the end, the monster is so horrific that our minds have to invent a form for it, and so they invent the giant spider, and then the children attack it with their bare hands and rip it apart. And there's this whole part where we go back in time like 5 billion years, and we start talking about the great turtle who vomited up the universe and how his nemesis is it. And you're like, whoa, this isn't even cocaine anymore.
Yeah, we
This
went
is
on to
something else.
DMT.
Yeah,
this
we've
doesn't
gone
make
down
any
to some
sense.
hallucinogens. And so it's bizarre. And the ending of the first half of it is the child orgy. Or maybe, it's not split up in the book. Yeah, right at the end of it is also the child. I always want to call it an orgy or a gangbang, but both are false. It's a train.
It's a train.
A train is a
Run
gangbang, kind
on
of.
A bunch of little boys.
Yeah, but we take
run the
turns in a
on the
train.
girl.
Whereas with the gangbang, we all get in there and it's like a buffet.
Right.
Yeah.
Any good woman can service 5 people.
It takes a damn good woman to service 5. You've got to really be
Okay, there's two
Ambidextrous
holes in
doesn't do it.
There's 2 holes in the undercarriage, one in her head, and she's got 2 hands.
Undercarriage.
Mm-hmm.
Good God, man.
Undercarriage.
Oh. Yeah.
I've counted them up.
I didn't have a problem with the outlets or anything. I was just saying it requires some skill to make that happen. But yeah, I don't know. Great show. I don't want to scare anybody away from starting it, finishing it, enjoying it, because overall it was a great experience. I like it. It's very good. I would rate the entire show, the 8 episodes that there are, 10 episodes maybe, whatever,
Yeah, 10.
as strong 7 out of 10 as far as these shows go. Now I would say Chernobyl is
Probably a 9.
probably a 9. Yeah.
Very good. That show was fantastic.
And Game of Thrones at its best, like a 9.5 or a 10 sometimes. There were definitely 10 out of 10 episodes.
Yeah,
of
Red
Game of
Wedding, that
Thrones.
was a 10 out of 10.
I thought the one every time when the Red Viper of Dorne was fighting for fighting for as the champion of Tyrion, there's a moment where he's like, "I will fight for you," and Tyrion's all teary-eyed. He's like, "Yeah," and I was just like, "Fuck yeah!" I didn't even consider that this guy could be the champion. I was thinking Jamie, but I was like, I remember we predicted. Well, I'm like, what we don't know is Jamie's been practicing. Jamie's going to show up left-handed, flourishing that sword, and he's going to be as good as he ever was. But no, it's like you forgot that there's another like S-tier character out there who can just step right in, who also needs revenge. And it was just like such a mind-blowing, fuck yeah,
The episode
let's do this kind of moment.
where Ned died was amazing. The episode where Jamie lost his hand, right? Anyone loses a hand, it's a big problem. But a guy whose entire identity and sense of self-worth is based on sword fighting and he loses a hand, it's
way
like
different.
Yeah,
Devastation.
you can't have that back. That's a permanent loss.
It was worse than death.
Yep. Yeah, he would have rather died almost, at least at first. But
Yeah.
the thing with Outsiders, the ending didn't jump out at me as horrible or anything, but it did leave me feeling a bit unsatisfied. I was like, there's a bunch of little tendrils out there that didn't get, tied up that to find out.
You ever see that subreddit Ruined Orgasms?
No.
It's where the chick gets the guy to like the edge. She's like, it's continuous edging, and his cock is so red and angry that you're like, that they've been doing this for like an hour, and finally, she'll like pump, stop, pump, stop, and then one of those stops, he finally starts coming, and then she just points and laughs as he just like comes on without touching it. Like,
what a horrible way to come.
It's called Ruined Orgasms. Yeah,
Yeah, you got to push through to the end.
Now, I'm a little
that's the whole point of the
vanilla,
subreddit.
but I like to enjoy my orgasms.
I think they're hilarious.
Enjoying it is probably the best part of sex.
Check out Ruined Orgasms, guys. And girls.
I can't get on board with the kink of like being degraded or ruined orgasm or like that's the opposite of what I like.
Yeah, I don't want someone to be mean to me.
Right.
That doesn't sound fun.
Tell me about my gains. That sounds like a much better experience to me.
Yeah, let's be nice.
But that's what it was like. It's like we got there. We got to this. We got right to the climax, and it was like, all right, let's wrap it up here. It's like, no, keep going. Give me some backstory. Give me some nitty gritty meat and taters, kind of like pay it off. Come on. And I mean, we got some violence, we got some retribution, but we didn't get a lot of information. And information is my I'm watching they remade it. I'm a big X-Files fan. It was my favorite show as a kid. And they made 2 more episodes the last couple of years. They've come back and it's like, we're bringing the X-Files back. We're back at it. And it's pretty good. There's an episode that's just like Black Mirror. Each episode's kind of doing its own thing, although there is this big conspiracy they're trying to get to the bottom of. And it's kind of like that. It really didn't pay off at the end, but there were a couple episodes where it was like full-on fan service, just jerking off on the titties, just giving you exactly what you want, like full blast. And I was just like, yeah, X-Files never used to do this. There's the alien right there. There it is. Up. All right, we got Tommy guns. Fuck that alien up. And they're just Tommy gunning an alien down. And I'm like, yeah, fuck you. We've been seeing nothing but shadows and glimmers of you cocksuckers for a decade. Now we got one in the dirt. It's good stuff.
This ruined orgasm thing looks like the most unsatisfying. just the word. It'd be like if I was sitting down to like some chicken wings I was really looking forward to. And as right I'm about to take a bite, some guy just knocks it out of there. Like, but you got a nice whiff of it, right? Now pick up another one. Can I eat my chicken? Can I just eat my chicken wings, please? Yeah, go ahead and eat it. Oh, thank God. Whop! Just kind of.
That was a juicy one. I know you like the flats.
No, this is a horrible restaurant. I didn't ask for any of this. I'm paying for the food. Yeah, this. Why?
Why not? Come on.
Taylor pronounced the H, but he's really baffled.
Why?
I only eat Rocky Road. No vanilla for me. No. Oh, come on. It's fun. It's fun. It looks like a good time. I would want any part of that. I really do feel like that's the one that's like, but the whole point was that.
Yeah. You're ruining the whole point. The whole thing we came here to do, and you fucked it up.
On purpose.
Mm-hmm. Because that guy wanted you to ruin the fun part.
There's no like ruined female orgasms, by the way. That's just called porn.
Yeah, well, hey, you learn something new every day. But I think I've heard of that. At least that I think I've heard of that before. Probably.
Yeah, that's what I've been watching last few days is
ruined orgasms.
No, the X-Files, like the newer, the latest 2 seasons. It's been pretty good. They got more money for CGI and such. There was a really funny episode where they're after a monster, like a lizard monster in the woods, and when they get to the bottom of it, Mulder thinks that Mulder catches him, and what he is, he's like a were-lizard instead of a werewolf. He turns into this lizard creature at night. And Mulder's like, tell me how this started. I've got to know. He's finally got an actual monster in front of him. And he's like, when he tells the story, he's not a man who turns into a lizard on the full moon. He's a lizard who was bitten by a man. And now he has to live his days as a man. And he hates it. And he's describing like the problems of human existence. He's like, I felt this overwhelming urge to get a job. And a 401k, whatever that is, and he's just like, it's just awful. It's torture. I used to just run through the woods and have fun and adventures, and now I'm cursed to live in this disgusting form. It was pretty cool, like a complete reversal of what you would normally see. Like he was a lizard man who had been living his existence out in the woods, and he was bitten by a man.
That's pretty funny. Bitten by a rabid man.
Yeah. Yeah, it was good stuff. Oh, yeah, I won't talk anymore about The Outsiders because I don't want to spoil it for anybody. But
it was good. I still recommend it.
Anything else coming up? It's like there's been a few things like the Lord of the Rings stuff, but it feels so far away.
Yeah, I don't even think.
Yeah, there's a new HBO thing that's it has the number 3 in it. I think it's going to be horror. And there's something called Devs. Who makes Devs?
Is that about software development?
I think it's super futuristic and like trippy. And I want to say that it's got Devs is an American drama thriller television miniseries created, written, and directed by blah, blah, blah. It premiered on the 5th. It's on Hulu. The premise is Devs is centered on Lily Chan, a computer engineer, investigator, and quantum computing company called Amaya, which is run by Forrest. Nick Offerman, by the way, he's a main character. You know, the carpenter guy from Parks and Rec. She believes this company is responsible for the disappearance of her boyfriend. It looks cool. Looks pretty trippy. And there's something called The Green Knight that I saw advertised that looked pretty cool. The Green Knight is an upcoming medieval fantasy film. Oh, a film. Okay. That's really more interested in TV these days.
Yeah, or at least a miniseries. Miniseries, you got the best of both worlds.
I agree with that. Yeah, miniseries are excellent. And I think there's something coming to HBO that's also kind of trippy. The new Pope, Westworld. Westworld season 3 is coming out. I know you guys don't care for it that much, but I enjoy it.
Yeah. I've been watching Curb.
Great.
I just watched the episode where he's using his mom's death as an excuse for everything. And that's a really funny one. I think one of my favorite ones so far is when he accidentally trips Shaq, and then like while Shaq is like badly injured, or so everyone thinks, everything in his life is going swimmingly. like he's not getting splashed on the side of the road. You know, all the little annoying things he had to do, like a birthday page. People are saying don't do it, and he's just loving it. And then finally, when they find out, like when the doctor's like, actually, Shaq, you'll be back next week. No worries. As soon as the good news comes in for Shaq, like everything goes straight downhill for Larry. It's a really entertaining show. I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, it's
so
one of my
uncomfortable
favorites.
sometimes, though. Ugh.
Yes, it can be really, really uncomfortable. The newest season is excellent. Like it's as good as it might be one of the best. The season that's like premiering right now every week. I watched the new episode. New episode Sunday.
Well, I'll be there
tonight's-
before I know it because it's just become like kind of my background show. I'm just watching it now while I work out and do whatever.
I love Leon. Leon's a great character. I didn't like the whole family. I didn't like when he had the whole black family like living with him. But I liked Leon a lot.
Yeah, I like pretty much all the characters.
Can you start in the later seasons? Like,
yeah, if you want to. I would recommend. I'm doing a rewatch right now, and I think I started around season 4 or season 6. I started right when the blacks joined because I felt
because I'm not there yet.
Yeah. Oh, I thought Leon was there. I thought the blacks had moved in with him.
No, I'm season 3.
Okay.
And you like it?
I like it. Yeah, I think it's funny.
It's really good.
Yeah,
it's like Seinfeld, where he gets in those really embarrassing situations and he can't let well enough alone. He's got to be like, yeah, but come on, right? like he's like, Mocha Joe, this coffee, it's not even hot. He's like, what are you talking about? That's hot coffee. He's like, no, I'll prove it. I'll put my nose in it. See, didn't even burn. What is this, Mocha Joe? Mocha Joe's like, why are you wearing that hat? He's got a Make America Great Again hat. He's like, people leave. Well, he realized that if he wears a MAGA hat, nobody will fuck with him. Nobody wants to sit next to him. Like he gets into like a traffic altercation with a biker, and the biker pulls up. He's like, "What the fuck is your?" Well, just be more careful next time. See you later, brother. Like it's great. It's like a social repellent. So like he just gets all the best seats, and nobody wants to crowd him. Nobody wants to be around him. He's just repugnant to everyone now.
Yeah,
it's always something silly like that.
I'll look forward to that episode. That sounds funny.
And he plays himself, so he is like 100 millionaire. So money is never a problem. Like he just magic some. He can just make stuff happen because he's 100 millionaire. He's all he's Larry David.
He's got fuck you money,
Absolutely,
way more than fuck you money. Yeah.
I hate his wife though, and
he's got like fuck CBS and NBC money. Like I don't need you guys.
He literally tells the executive of NBC to go fuck himself. It's great. They're talking about doing a Seinfeld reunion show, and the main guy in NBC is like, "Hey Larry, you want?" Larry agrees, and then he's like, "Would you like to see a game tonight? I got Lakers tickets." And he's like, "Yeah, I'd love that." They go to pick up their tickets, and they're way up in the nosebleeds, and they're like, "What the fuck is this? I thought we'd be courtside. Can I borrow your binoculars?" And he looks, and there's the NBC executive with David Spade down on the court, and he's just like, he tries to call him, and the guy goes, "Reject." So he just tells him to go fuck himself. You know, it's funny. It's good stuff. It's fun.
That is good. I think I'm
enjoying it.
I'll probably watch these things. Till Tarkov gets fixed.
Try not to get infected out there, boys. You know. Yeah. There's like a 1 in a million chance that you might get the sniffles. You know, it could be bad.
Don't use PKA as your doctor.
I mean, all of you 3-year-olds and all you 83-year-olds, beware. It'll take you right the fuck out.
But I have the sniffles right now, Kyle, and I don't like you minimizing it.
It starts with a fever.
But it could be dying. Yeah, as far as we know.
We all are slowly.
Yeah, that's true. That's depressing.
All right. PKN 290.